And this afternoon, judges, magistrates and state prosecutors have been identified among the highest recipients of cash bribes in the Republic of Ghana. This is contained in the latest Corruption in Ghana report issued by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. The report estimates that public officers received bribes amounting to some 5 billion Ghana cedis in total. Now, out of this amount, the reports suggest that the largest cash recipients of bribes were paid to Land Commission officers, prosecutors, and also, guess what, judges and magistrates. So let's bring you a breakdown of some of the excerpts contained in that report, and you find portions indicating that there are some large variations in the size of bribes according to the type of public official who receives them. Now, amongst all of the types of public officials for which there was sufficient data, with an average of the Ghanaian cedi equivalent of 1,669, the largest cash bribes were paid to Land Commission officers and prosecutors, judges or magistrates, and their average is totaling some 1,208. And by contrast, much smaller than the average amounts which were paid to health workers, who have the average of some 90 to 253 Ghana cedis, and also police officers, who are ranging around the average of 220 Ghana cedis. But let's bring you some more dynamics to it. In terms of the average, when it comes to the size of bribes taking, you have that on the screens right now, indicating very clearly that the judges are just following closely the amounts taking allegedly by Land Commission officers. And the figure has been pegged somewhere around 1,208 as compared to 1,666 in terms of the average bribe size. But overall, we know that if you take that list of more than 10 state institutions or places in the public sector, you have the judges coming second to the Lands Commission. We also have the Ghana Immigration Service there and the elected local government representatives, as well as that of the GRA and customs officers. But in terms of our justice delivery, the prosecutors, judges and magistrates are being captured there on the scale, bringing them to second on that role. It's beginning to, in fact, gain the attention of some justices of the Supreme Court, including Yoni Kolendi, who says that corruption in the judiciary is beginning to have an effect on the system as it is undermining equity and fairness in our society. Listen.
Prevailed in our fight against corruption. It is fast draining the public purse, it's creating barriers to economic development, decreasing effectiveness and efficiency of public services, increasing transactional costs, undermining equity and fairness in our society, making nonsense of due process and law, eroding the legitimacy of government, and will ultimately bring down our democracy and upset our national security. History will and ought to judge us harshly if we were to bequeath such a future to our children and posterity. That said, I must also say that in Ghana, the word corruption appears to be a word that is often being used without a clear understanding of the nuances involved. Allegations and counter-allegations bordering on corruption have often bedeviled our airwaves and public discourse, and I believe this fuels the perception of corruption in Ghana. I think the National Corruption Survey that is about to be launched today is a verifiable attempt to give stakeholders and the public, for the first time, some scientific basis to validate perceptions on the prevalence or otherwise of corruption in Ghana and some of the sectors that are captured in the survey. Ladies and gentlemen, my understanding is that the formulation and adaptation of the National Anti-Corruption Action Plan as a comprehensive strategy was informed principally by the need to expose and combat corruption and to make it a low gain and high risk activity. This, of course, would enhance professionalism, effectiveness, integrity, accountability, transparency, etc., in all aspects of our endeavor to build a Ghana that gives hope to our people. However, we cannot do this successfully if we do not measure corruption with a view to revealing our vulnerabilities and developing the necessary anti-corruption responses. This, to me, is the utility of such an important survey. It will give all of us a wake-up call to appreciate the thinking and sentiments of people on the streets across our country. May I take this opportunity to implore all stakeholders and the public to critically evaluate and reflect on this survey and hopefully accept the results as they are from reputable organizations such as the Commission on Human Rights, the Ghana Statistical Services, and the UNOCD, and to use this in informing our strategies in our effort against this menace.
And the findings are already drawing reactions from a number of stakeholders. Let's bring in now the spokesperson for the Ghana Bar Association, Xavier Kujie, who represents the bar, which is expressing some worry over the trend that we're witnessing. In fact, let me bring you in now, Xavier, if you can hear me. First of all, Justice Kulendi talks about the fact that this should be a wake-up call. You agree?
I agree with him.
Yes,
I agree with him because as a people, I think we are in too much of a hurry. What do I say so? We do many things, especially as young people. We seem not to know ourselves even very well. Everybody is just doing whatever he wants. So instead of following procedure, you want it faster than it should be. We are just leading a very fast life as a nation or as a people. So I agree with you.
But then, if you look at the report, it appears that you're coming second on that index. We're not, by this report, saying that every judge is corrupt. But it appears that the situation is beginning to be entrenched in the system. That's worrying to justice delivery, isn't it? Is it fair to then say probably justice is for sale in Ghana?
Well, I would begin by saying that I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised because it's a human institution. So there is a likelihood that not everybody will live by the rules. But the point is that, as I said, people are just in a hurry. You have a matter in court. You trust a lawyer, or even if you are conducting the case yourself, you are in the court because you trust the justice system. Why then do you try to influence? Because I don't think that in many of the cases, demands are made, but rather overtures are made from litigants or their intermediaries to reach the judges, magistrates, and whoever is in charge.
So for you,
I don't think that it's too. I don't know the sample size from which the sample size for conducting this research before the generalizations are being made. But as I said, it's a human institution. So I am not surprised, but I'm disappointed. But I think that as the justice of the Supreme Court said, it's a wake-up call. We need to do a lot more house cleaning. But I think that it should not be limited to only that. I think our values and morals are totally almost gone. That's a problem we have. So it should start from the home. People should get to know that once there are procedures to be observed, in doing something, it should be observed. People should be able to speak their minds. People should be able to criticize. You know, our systems themselves even lack integrity. Why do I say so? You have a typical institution in which a subordinate goes to a boss, almost speaking ill of another subordinate, and the boss is interested in what is being said without investigating. It means that the boss himself lacks integrity. That boils down to the system itself lacking integrity. So I think that we should be bold enough to insist on the right things to be done. But how do we do that? People must be encouraged. If you are afraid to be labeled a too known person, as we say in Ghana, or I don't even know. Once you begin to speak tough, they think that you are too known, you are self-conceited. I think people should let go of those ones. Whatever you do, people will talk about it. But ask yourself, what is your purpose? What do you want to be remembered for? A bribe giver, a bribe taker? So I think it boils down to the individual. If you come together, we can do it. Once people begin to insist on the right things being done,
this will be the...
Even those who take the bribe, why don't you call in the police? Because you lack integrity yourself. If you don't lack integrity, somebody approaches you to pay bribe, call in the police. It will not happen again.
But unfortunately, even the police you're going to appears to be the highest on that index in terms of the most corrupt institution. So it's as though the entire justice system needs some cleaning, as you're pointing out. But where do we start from? Should we be focused on the bar or on the bench? Where do we start from?
I think both bar, bench, together with the court users, because some time ago, I think some of the notices are still there. After they announced expose, a number of the notices were put up that, look, justice is not for sale, don't pay bribe and all that. People should be patient. You see, the problem we have is that just as we are in a hurry to make money or to acquire wealth, that is the same way we are in a hurry to do everything. A young lawyer joins the bar. He works as a senior who is driving Mercedes. He doesn't care to find out, senior, how did your first car look like? He's targeting the Mercedes.
Everyone likes a Mercedes, isn't it? Everyone likes a Mercedes, isn't it?
You like it, but at your time you have it.
Right.
You cannot go before your time. God is a God of order. If it doesn't reach your turn, don't try to move. Other than that, you collapse. You see, as a nation, I don't think we even know how to calculate wealth. To me, wealth is just asset minus liabilities. You see somebody in a huge car, flashy car, huge house, you think he's made money. Have you cared about his liabilities? You've not. So as lawyers, I think that it behoves seniors to, apart from teaching the law, to at least educate juniors and whoever they work with on what they have learned in life. That, look, I've come this far because I needed to cross, or I have crossed a number of hurdles. So take your time. One day shall be your turn. And there's a saying at the back that everybody shall have his turn at the back.
The belief is that the judiciary is the fulcrum around which our democracy revolves. And once Ghanaians have that in mind, that the courts are not the last place of resort in terms of disagreement, that could be chaotic for our democracy, don't you think so?
Yeah, not exactly, but as I said, if we all agree that, you see, the courts operate with rules and they follow procedures. You don't go to court today and think that because you are of a particular caliber in society, your case must be heard immediately. You don't do that. What we all have to do is just like driving in traffic. If we should all follow our respective lanes, there shouldn't be traffic in town. But if you go to court and you think that you have influence, so you want to influence the system, these are the kind of things that we'll get. So my appeal is that once you have trust in the judicial system and you have brought a matter to court, why then do you want to influence the system? If you could have resolved your problems, why did you come to court then? So the court users, the judges, the lawyers, should all collaborate. We should all begin to observe procedures so that things work. If anybody should attempt to bribe you, have the person arrested. In any case, you have been interviewed for a job and you're on a salary. You like the job, that's why you're there. What else do you want? If you didn't like the job, you shouldn't have taken the appointment. And if it's as you do it, if you don't like it, resign.
You were just talking about the expose by investigative journalist Anas Arimia Anas a couple of years back. We've transitioned in terms of leadership in the judiciary. We now have Justice Enin Yeboah. Is it the case that the previous leadership were not able to clean or sanitize the system after those findings?
Not exactly so. As I mentioned, it's a human institution. You can't clean it all entirely. It has to take some time. At least, I believe with the expose, if there were some people actually doing it, they would have taken a backstage for some time before even trying to go, before even trying to do it again, if they should. It's just like chancing upon an accident on the highway. You should definitely slow down for the next 5-10 minutes before you begin to speed again. So it's not as if leadership in the past, present, has not done anything. They are still doing a lot, but it will take some time because negative things are difficult to cure.
I want to do some further analysis with you. Generally, we're just talking about bribery in the judiciary. That's the overall heading that's been given to that. But for you, who is the most corrupt? Is it the judges, the lawyers, or the judicial officers, in your view?
I wouldn't pinpoint any category of persons, but I am sure not many judges will be bold enough to ask you for bribe.
Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that?
Of course, not many judges will be bold enough. Blessed, Blessed is the name, right?
Yeah.
Blessed, you know, taking bribe is a crime. Would you be bold enough to ask for that? Because you might not know who you are dealing with. What if you are bold enough to do that and the person says, I'm a police officer. You have asked me for bribe. This is the bribe. Let's go. That is why I am saying that integrity is all we need to insist on. If you are a person of integrity, you have been interviewed for a job, you've taken up the job, you're on a certain salary, the only thing you should expect is increment in salary. Manage your expectations and manage whatever you have. So with integrity, the moment anybody approaches you or a middleman comes and says that this case is before you or facilitate this for me, and you know that is against your morals and values and principles, what prevents you from calling for the police for the arrest of the person? Forget about the fact that the police themselves are corrupt, but do your duty as a person of integrity.
And I almost lost sight of that, the issue about prosecutors. And that should include the Ghana Police Service, isn't it? These are persons who work on behalf of the state. So if they are included in this report as taking huge sums of money, then it appears that we have a challenge too, that persons who have their rights abused may not have justice anytime soon.
Yes, definitely. I will agree with you. I totally agree with you because that is not the way the system is set up to be. But we have more or less corrupted the system because we want things faster. It is normal for a police to arrest anybody. I'm a lawyer, but I can be arrested just after this interview. It doesn't mean that I'm guilty. Of course, they will have to do their necessary work investigations and see if I am even a person to be arrested in the first place. So we should allow the system to work. We should understand that it is one step after the other. Once you want to rush, you definitely have problems. So it is not the best for us to have prosecutors being alleged to be taking money from either complainants or accused persons or not. There's a general trend in this country that if you owe somebody owes you money, the moment you place a call to a security officer, the person is invited and is detained. That is not their job. They are not debt collectors. If anybody owes you, go to court and take your money with interest, as the case may be.
So finally, for the Ghana Bar Association, are you picking up any lessons from this report that's beginning to trickle into the society? And what would you expect from both leadership of your group and other stakeholders within the judiciary?
I think that a lot more education must be done so that we redeem our image. It's not all sunk, as far as I'm concerned. I will not say that everything is gone. I think that we just have to go back, do some introspection and reflection. Then we get on course. So we as leadership of the bar, of course, we are meeting again at our annual conference in September at O, and we discuss matters affecting the profession and the nation. And this is one of the critical issues that I think that members will have to look at. And let us not forget, without the lawyers and the litigants, I don't think that a judge will be corrupted. Because we take the jobs there, and they sit on the cases. Even if they are not making the demands, you try to influence them.
You seem to be defending the judges a lot. Why
no,
so?
Not that, bless. Not that I'm defending judges. What I'm saying is that how many judges in the normal course of things will demand bribe? Maybe 1 out of 100 or 1 out of 1,000. But there's a likelihood that people will try to approach them. That is when they will have to insist on the integrity bit of their call. That look, I am not that kind of person. I am not selling justice. I will just determine the case on its merits. And people must accept that if you go to court, it's not football man, there will be a draw. There must be a loser and a winner. That is why the appellate system is there. If you are not happy with the decision you received at the court of first instance, you go up. Unless even sometimes as lawyers we disagree with the decision of the Supreme Court, but that is the final court. But sometimes the good thing is that because the law permits them to revisit their decisions by turning away from them, if a similar matter comes before them, they can change their position. There are a lot of such cases. So let us be patient as a people. Let us learn to know that success in life is not about material things alone. That is where the problem is.
Well,
everybody wants to lead a fast life in Ghana. Why?
That's a big question you're asking. I guess we'll find some time. We'll find some time to deal with that. But I'm grateful that you've been able to join us this afternoon here on The Pulse. Xavier Kujip, Public Relations Officer for the Ghana Bar Association.